Really, it's just about, our football play uh, with this press conference that you have. We've had a couple other things that have come up in our program. First off, we have one of our players, Larry Oladipo, that's been charged with domestic battery. Of course, that's a serious offense to be charged with. As our university policy, he's been suspended and definitely from our program. The university, of course, will go through an investigation with that. Our football team will move forward with that. It's not a whole lot more I can tell you about that situation, except he's suspended from our football team. Something that's really personal to me, and I've known Hardy Nickerson since 1996. Our relationship is a lot more than just coaches working together on a daily basis. We've been through an awful lot. It's a personal relationship that you have. Whenever someone, leaves the program, it's tough. Hardy came in yesterday morning and of course, resigned his position as defensive coordinator for our football team for personal reasons. I think since then, Hardy's gone into detail a little bit more, some of the reasons why. But again, it's a tough day, tough time for our program. We're not satisfied with a lot of things that we're doing football-wise right now. Of course, defensively, we hadn't played good defense, but you kind of work through some things. But when medical issues come up, of course, they can make you do some things that, that you ordinarily wouldn't do. And so anyway, with that, as I look at whether it's an injury or in this case a resignation, there always has to be another plan when things go wrong or go a different direction. And we have a plan in place on what we're going to do. I've been involved with the defense. I'll call the plays defensively this week. We're going to move Rob Wright, a guy that's been in our program for 3 years, who's grad assistant, and now he's been an analyst with our linebackers. We're moving to the linebacker role. Other guys on our staff will take on additional duties, and we'll move forward ahead with Minnesota this week. As I said, there's disappointment where we are, with the 3-5 record. But at the same time, as you look at a game, we're, it's late in the third quarter and we're behind. But most football games are won in the fourth quarter. That's when a lot of the real work really starts. So we have a great opportunity as we kind of look at this latter half of our regular season as we move forward. Injury-wise, we had a couple of injuries, a few guys that didn't finish the game, offensively, defensively. I normally don't talk an awful lot about injuries like that. We haven't actually practiced yet, so as the week goes along, we'll try to let you know a little bit more about that. Take your question.
Lovie, you said you'll call plays. How much is that different from previously? Just putting it together.
I've been involved defensively, but I don't call the special teams plays, offensive plays, or defensive plays. But I have been more involved, of course, defensively, and this year, and I've been involved every year defensively, but haven't been in that role. But I feel comfortable being in that role. One time last year, of course, Coach Nickerson missed with the death in his family, and I moved into that role then. So we feel like we have a plan to handle it.
What's that mean? Because obviously you'll be doing more of that for timeouts, game situations, things like that.
We can handle those too. During the course of a game, I know most head coaches like to think that there's 30 million things that we're doing, but we can make some calls when the defense is out there and pay attention to the rest of the game while this going on also.
What's long term? What's your thoughts long term?
Oh, long term. But right now, where we are, everything is short term. This past week as we went up there was just about Maryland. This week is just about Minnesota and us putting everybody in the best position for us to have success this week. So no more than that. We have a plan that we're gonna go with the rest of this season. Feel real good about that plan based on the circumstances. But that's all that's been decided.
You mentioned Rob Wright, the linebackers coach. What do you think he'll be able to bring to that spot?
Well, Rob's been around the program a long time. I'm gonna, of course, Rob will help me, with the linebackers. But again, you've been in the program 3 years. Rob knows everything that we're supposed to do. Bright guy. Has been around football for a long period of time also. So, under the circumstances, we have a, good backup plan with him being involved in it.
Lovie, you've now lost 2 defensive assistants, 2 guys you've known for a long time. Just how tough has that been for you, and what is the challenges just as the coach to handle that?
Well, when you bring up personal relationships, I mean, it's tough in general. But the football part of it is things happen, and that's football. I mean, I like to always go back to injuries happen, and some where they're season-ending injuries, and you have to have another plan in place. If I'm not here, our staff will continue on, and that's the approach you go into every football season. You go into every game the same way. You got to have a plan for a lot of things that can come up.
Lovie, what was that conversation like between you and Hardy?
You asking me about what was that conversation like between Hardy and I? Yeah, we'll kind of keep that conversation to us. But, whenever you're a coach and you can't finish a job, you don't feel good about that. So you can imagine how that conversation went. Just this weekend as a whole, I mean, it wasn't a great weekend. I mean, a lot of things are coming off of what happened in Maryland. I mean, that's tough. It's been tough on our football team just kind of based on that. And everybody's trying to get that right. But in times of adversity a little bit, when you go through things, what I found that people tend to do this more, and that's what we'll need to be able to do.
How much of a surprise was this from Hardy?
Surprise. I mean, as far as how much, I mean, it's a surprise. I mean, this doesn't happen, always, but I think when major things happen like this, it is a surprise normally, just in general. Go back to injuries, they're a surprise. You're not planning on it happening, but it can.
Well, I don't expect you to say how things would change, but does anything change now, like with how the defense goes about planning something?
I think just in general, Jeremy, your reporting is different than Bob's. I mean, we have different people. You get a different twist on everything, a different look, different feel, different story. So I'm going to do what I've been doing most of my life for about 40 years. I feel pretty comfortable moving into this role. So that's how it'll change. I assume you plan on being at the game this week, right? I mean, we're excited about a good Minnesota team, Dad's Day, getting back to all of that. Really excited about that.
You and Minnesota have had kind of parallel each other with, a lot of young players on the team, a lot of players that are injured.
I heard that they have a whole lot of young players, the youngest team in football. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Keep going.
Well, just, the fact that you guys parallel each other with
yes.
Illinois having a lot of young players in Minnesota as well. So
yes.
Just how do you prepare for a team that, is kind of similar to yourselves?
Well, we know what they're going through, playing as many young players, and they do. It's been documented how many young players they do have. And same thing with us. So we're both going through some growing pains that you have to go through with young players. But it's late in the season now also, and it's time for the young players, of course, to quit making some of the young player mistakes and things like that. I know last game for them, they played some of their best ball with those young players. And our young players have gotten better, and I'm looking for us to take another step. That's why it's an exciting time for 2 programs that are building their programs in a similar way. They're young, we're young. They have a great facility that they just moved into. We're getting ready to move into ours. Both of us have better days ahead, and for us, we want to start this weekend.
Is MJ Rivers ready to practice? Do you have any update on that?
And really, when I don't, Bob, I probably wouldn't tell you anyway if I knew it. But right now, nothing has changed. We'll know more, of course, tomorrow. MJ, of course, we had meetings this morning. He's in meetings and looked fine, but we'll see. Once you get into the concussion protocol, it takes a little bit of time with that.
I I know you looked before separating the season into quarters and now
Yes.
ending the third quarter. Do you feel like there's been development of the team, a progression over this past few games?
Well, the last 3 games, no. I mean, we haven't taken major steps. It's as simple as that. But you can have a quarter like that, though, where you play pretty good, 2, or maybe okay, 1, and you go through a quarter where it just doesn't go your way. That's what I'm going to say about this last one that we've kind of gone through a little bit. Last 3 games, I'll say. Hadn't gone the way we wanted it to, but there's more time. And we plan on doing something with that time. So there's so much football left to go. And we've gone through an awful lot. Eventually you get over the hump. I was just looking at college football. There's been some teams that have lost 3 games in a row and come on strong. I know one in particular lost 3, won 4. So we want to be one of those teams that went through some hard times, but came out of it even stronger and ended up finishing it up the right way.
Coach, is Mike Epstein close to be playing this week?
A good question. Mike is, again, and you guys are all getting better. I don't know exactly how much better for Mike, but whenever you miss another game, there's something going on. There's something going on with Mike. We'll kind of see how the week plays out. Know a lot more tomorrow at the practice.
Sorry. The players on the defense obviously have relationship with Hardy.
Yes.
Did they have a chance to talk to him, do you know? And have you talked to the kids about it yet or not?
Bob, I talked to Hardy yesterday,
Okay.
and the team came in this morning. I let the team know at 7:30 this morning. So since then, we've been in meetings. I don't know what else has happened, but yes, of course, Coach Nickerson had a relationship with the guys. I'm sure a lot of the guys would be reaching out to him. But again, there's time for all of that.
Speaking of reaching out, has anyone reached out to Larray since Sunday?
Of course, we have. As soon as we found out about it, which was yesterday, I have talked to him. But again, right now, I think it's out, about the charge. That's all we know. What he's been charged with, no more. I believe in letting things play out, letting an investigation occur, and letting the truth come out. And that's where we are right now. Don't know any more than that.
How did he seem?
I mean, it's a conversation between I kind of keep it between us. You can kind of imagine how, whenever a player's in a situation like that, there's remorse, but we'll let that all play out.
Lovie, is it kind of as you let things play out, is it kind of a hands-off situation?
Absolutely. Have nothing to do with it. Per our university, once you have a, domestic battery charge, I have nothing to do. I talked to Larry just as Larry is one of our players. From there, he's gone through the system. We won't be communicating anymore about anything like that.
With the situations that lead to maybe more discussions with the rest of your players, the team.
We have discussion always about our team, with our team. And this is reality a little bit too. Like in the room right now, it's hard to know what everybody is doing. When you're dealing with a program our size, we're constantly talking to our guys about doing what's right. I think most of the time we know what's right. Do people step outside from time to time and do some things that maybe they shouldn't? Yes. And if that's the case, there's consequences behind it, like there is in society as a whole too. But as far as us constantly teaching our players how to be a man and man responsibility, doing what's right and wrong, that's daily.
Minnesota, what do you see of them as an offense and a defense?
Minnesota, it's a good topic to have here. What we see offensively is spread offense. Coach Flack does a good job with the program. We played them a couple times, Western Michigan, of course. Last year in Minnesota, we had a heck of a game with them. But offensively, spread attack, play hard on the defensive side of the football. We talked about, some of the things were similar, that are similar with our football teams, youth and all of that. They've had a couple of injuries. The quarterback, of course, had another quarterback played the last game and played outstanding football when their starter was down. But, again, a good Big Ten team. We're both, there's a lot of us around that 3-4 win area, scratching and clawing, trying to get a win.
What are the considerations you have about choosing to kick a field goal versus trying to continue a drive, especially behind? I know each situation is probably different. But
Yeah, you know, and especially after we kick field goals and they get touchdowns. I mean, you really, I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it a little bit. Whether we can hit the field goal, want to get some points, time in the game, how many other opportunities you think you're going to get. Is this just, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it, to each one, and each case is a little bit different. What part of the game, you know, early in the game, you want to get points. But as a general rule, just talking field goal, touchdown, we would like to get, of course, get touchdowns as often as possible and try to avoid the field goals, but sometimes we'll take what we can get. Thank you.